Motivation. I'm motivated. But what do you do when motivation is not enough? You rely on your work ethic. You rely on your discipline. That's my mentality. Now let's get it.
The stage, please welcome Julian Peters.
What's going on, everybody? This is Julian back with my mentality podcast. For those listening, welcome back to my voice. For those watching, you get to see my beautiful face again. Congrats. And today's special guest, we have Miss Rachel Spanos. Did I say that right?
Spanos, yes.
Spanos. So Rachel is one of my teammates. She is a brand new IFBB Pro bikini competitor. It's really cool to be there to get to see her get that card. And her story is incredible. I can't wait to get into it. But how are you doing today?
Good. Just soaking up the moment from the weekend and just still on cloud nine.
Right. So are you still eating like crazy?
Kind of. I try to be a little bit good the past few days, but I do find myself picking at cookies and stuff. So
I've never seen a woman so small eat so much in my life. I mean that in a good way too. I was like impressed, like they are glowing. So
yeah.
Let's talk about your background before we actually get into bodybuilding. What do you do for a living? Like, what do you do?
So I am an embryologist.
Okay.
Are you familiar with IVF, in vitro fertilization?
Like, I'm familiar enough to know what that means, but
so basically I am a lab scientist in the field of infertility.
Okay.
So I help people create families, and it's a really cool job.
How did you get into
that? There's not many of us out there, so
yeah. How did you get into that?
Actually, I kind of fell into it. I majored in cell biology. I went to Rutgers University, and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was just looking for some experience just to get on my resume. And there was a job opening in the school newspaper for like an entry-level position at a fertility center. So I just took my chances on it and really loved it, and just ended up like working my way up.
Wow, that's amazing. How long have you been doing that?
So I've been in the field for about 12 years.
Okay.
But in my current position, actually being in charge of creating the babies, I've been doing that for about almost 7 years.
Right. And is that like your regular 9 to 5, or is that like
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like crazy hours, or you just, 9 to 5 every day.
It's 7 to 3, but
okay.
It's earlier, which is good. I like it better that way.
Yeah, I would like that myself, to be honest. 7 to 3, that's plenty a day to get through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I always squeeze in a nap.
Yeah. Right, for sure. So, and then you're married.
Yeah. Yep. So married. We're coming up on our 8-year wedding anniversary in September. So yeah, we met at school, and no kids or anything, just us two and a dog.
Yeah. So eventually I want to have both of y'all on.
Okay.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
I think it's super dope to see like couples that go through preps together, but also hear like the spouse's side, not the actual competitor. So like what they're going through, because I don't think a lot of people.
Oh yeah, that'll be a good one.
Yeah. I'll hit him up and you up. We'll set that up for later, but it focuses on you today.
Okay.
So what got you into bodybuilding?
It's actually a funny story. I really just was on social media one day, brand new to Instagram. So I don't really, I didn't know how it worked. I just came across a woman and her stage shot, and I was like, that's pretty freaking cool. Like, I don't even know what it is, but I was so intrigued, and I was just like, I want to do that. Whatever it is, I want to do that at some point in my life. I made it a bucket list item, and I was just kind of becoming obsessed with the idea and just very intrigued. And I just kept doing my research, and I was just like, what am I waiting for? Like, why am I saying I'm going to do this at some point in my life? So I literally jumped into a prep within, I don't know, a month or two of seeing this woman's post on Instagram.
Right.
And I had no idea what I was getting myself into, honestly, but it was one of the craziest things. And I mean, obviously I'm still here, so I must have really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So did you have like an athletic background leading into this, or was it just kind of
No,
like, I'm just going to start working?
no, I was probably 80 pounds soaking wet.
Right.
I was, I did not have a gym membership. I don't even think I've ever gone to a gym, honestly. Um, I didn't even like to do cardio. So I wasn't a cardio bunny. I didn't lift weights. I just literally didn't do any activity. But it was just something that was so intriguing to me that I just felt like I needed to be involved in this.
Right.
And yeah.
Do you remember the woman, like her name or anything?
No, I have no idea. I didn't follow her. I didn't
Right.
know how Instagram worked. So it was just something that I came across, and then I kept seeing other competitors too. So then it was just becoming, more something that I was looking into and researching. And
Right. So let me ask this, what does being on stage do for you personally?
oh, so I am pretty shy as a person, very introverted. So getting on stage, it scares the living crap out of me, honestly, but it makes me feel something that I don't feel very often. The adrenaline rush. You just feel like you almost have to have an alter ego when you're up there, and it kind of makes you feel alive, I guess, like, in a different way. And it's just really exciting. And just the moments after, it's just like, holy crap, I did that, and I don't know, it's just so different for me. And I think that's what I really, really like about it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I haven't been on stage in a while, but I remember being like incredibly nervous
Uh-huh.
the first show I did. And then after that, it was like, I want to make this stage mine. Like it was a
Yeah.
dominance thing. And I love posing. So like I'm confident in that. I don't care if I look like crap. Like I'm confident that somebody's gonna be like, that kid posed his ass off.
Yeah.
And I'll take that. But yeah, it's cool to see so many people, like you said, that are maybe introverted, which if you think about it, bodybuilding to me, before social media became what it is more of an introverted sport. Like it's more
Mhm.
for the person who can kind of focus on themselves, work. They don't need a whole bunch of interaction or team
Right.
sport, so to speak. But it's cool to see people kind of, like you said, change once they get on stage. Like they're
Right.
confident. Like I haven't seen that before. So I understand.
Yeah. Yeah, and posing for me is scary. Ryan, he used to laugh and say, like, you're literally shaking. You're like a wet dog. It's like, and it was just something I had over time had to learn how to overcome, even though I still have that feeling of being really scared on stage. You know, I'm able to be, I guess, look more confident and feel more confident in myself as I like continue to compete and stuff. But that feeling never really goes away for me,
Right.
being nervous. And I wonder if it will. I don't know. As a pro, maybe I'll have a different sense of confidence up there.
Yeah, I feel like I don't, and it could just be me, but on the amateur level, it seems like it would be more pressure because like when you're competing as a pro, you're a pro. Like no matter what, you're a pro. Whereas like as an amateur, everything that I've worked for depends on where these judges place me, whether or not I get the card that I've been
Mhm.
working for. So like I don't know, maybe it might be less once you're a pro.
Right. Yeah. Because everyone probably steps on stage looking insane as a pro. So no matter where you place, it's like you're on a pro stage. So
Right.
something to be proud of. Yeah.
Yeah, that's most definitely.
I
So,
agree.
and okay, so getting into the part that I found most fascinating about you is something that, like, when you talked about it, we were eating after your show, that I had to like question myself. Like, would I be able to go through and keep going and keep pushing? So like the level of mental fortitude I think that you have, or like just your will, is like elite compared to a lot of athletes. Like, I really do mean that. And I talked to Ryan about that after. So go ahead and like, let's talk. How many shows have you done in general?
Total, I've done 21 shows.
Okay.
So I won my pro card at my 21st show.
21st show. And
Yeah.
so how many national shows have you done?
11.
11.
Mhm.
Okay. And then you placed, if you remember, you said 8 of those were top 5 finishes.
It was 7 or
Was it 8 including
7,
this one?
I think. 6 in the top 5. And then that 7th one, I was top 6. So I was in the first call out, but I landed outside of the top 5.
Right.
And then I won my pro card. So
and
yeah.
what was your feedback during this time when you're like, obviously you're consistently a good national level competitor if you're getting first call outs. So what was the feedback?
So it varied. Mostly it would be bring rounder, fuller glutes. So I would make the improvements, but I mean, there's only so much I can do in a year or, 6 months improvement season. So visibly you can see the improvement, but it's still, I would fall in that 4 through 6 range. And then it was about playing with food to try to come in a little bit fuller. And then sometimes it would be a little too full. So then it's like come in a little tighter. So it kind of bounced in between in that feedback.
Did you ever deal with like realizing or having to fight through the fact that like, no matter what I do, bringing my best, it still might not be enough?
Yes, that thought crossed my mind a million times. I just always thought, no matter what I do, there's always going to be somebody better, or they're going to find a reason why they don't want to let me win. And that was just something I constantly battled with myself. And I thought, if I can't convince myself that I'm a winner, how can I convince the judges that I'm a winner? So that was something I really tried to change with my own confidence and just the way that I thought, and just try to really manifest the win, so.
Okay. So this is one of those left turns I was talking about. So one of the things, because I like what you said, as far as like, you had to change and look at yourself as a winner. And one of the things I always say, I hate the word hope, because like you'll be working your tail off and maybe a friend will message you and be like, man, you're going to win that pro card. And my first response would be, I hope so. I hope you're right. And I feel like, I'm like, when I think about it, there's so much doubt in that.
Yep.
By saying, I hope you're like, I hope so. So I even like made a conscious effort to be like, that's what I'm working for. That's what I'm working towards. Like, and it's like you said, the manifesting those things. You got to truly believe in yourself in order to really manifest something. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So like, let me ask you this. Did you ever have the point where you really had to battle yourself? Like what was the climax of, Rachel, I got to beat you?
So I don't know if there's a specific moment, but I feel like, because when I started competing on the national level, my very first show, I placed in the top 5.
Right.
I took 5th. So at that point, I set the bar pretty high for myself. I was like, all right, like, maybe I'm a little bit better than mediocre. So the next year I came in like thinking I was going to just really make my mark, and I fell short. And then the following year I was like, all right, well, it's going to happen this time, because I've seen other competitors, place a few times in the top 5, and then it takes them maybe 1 or 2 more shows and they get it. So as the shows are dragging on and the next year comes around and it's just not happening for me. I'm slowly just losing confidence. And I told myself at the beginning of this prep, this is going to be my year. Like, I'm not taking no for an answer. So going into junior nationals, which was the first national show that I attempted, I expected to win. Like, that was the first time that I ever said, I'm going into the show and I'm winning it. And I didn't.
Right.
So that was a blow. So I expected to go into universe, and same thing. I was like, all right, well, it was a warm-up show. Mm-hmm. Like, let's lay it up into the universe. And it didn't happen again. So slowly I felt myself just kind of dwindling down in my confidence. And I actually was kind of surprised that I placed in the top 2 for USA's. I think I started to not hold those expectations because I was afraid of disappointing myself again. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, like, expectations is weird because everybody tells you need to believe in yourself and have high expectations, but it's almost like, am I setting myself up for failure if I don't reach this expectation that I've set for myself? Mm-hmm. That's a slippery slope. Like, I don't even know because I feel the same way. Like, I set high expectations, but if I don't meet them, I feel like rejected. Like, I'm down on myself. Like, is that healthy? I don't know.
Right. So I had just told myself, going into USA's, I was like, I accept whatever the outcome of this show is. Like, I just want to go in and have fun at this one, which is something that I was forgetting to do with the other shows because I was putting so much pressure on myself. So it kind of worked out in that way that I went in with less expectations and ended up winning and having fun. And so
I almost wonder if, like, it's just not the expectation, it's just what we put it on. Like, if I can expect myself to give everything I have to this prep and work my tail off and let the dice roll the way it does, maybe that's a better expectation for me to have than I'm getting ready to walk in here and beat every person in my class of 36. I've never thought about it until you said it. Maybe my expectations are just in the wrong areas. Maybe. We'll see. So when it comes to, like you said, even this year, you're going through shows. What are you doing support-wise? Like, who's supporting you? Who's picking you up? Like, did you have that?
So obviously my husband is my number one support. He literally is there to listen to all of my complaints, watch all of my videos, look at all my check-in photos. He's there to go to the grocery store for me. He's literally there every step of the way, which I'm so thankful for. And he's been like that since show 1.
He was there when you started this. Like,
and nobody, like, I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. I had never even gone to a show before.
Right.
Before I did my first show.
Right.
So he didn't know what it really entailed either, but he was still there. Whatever I needed, he was there. So I really appreciate that because he tries to work me into his schedule. I know he's so busy, still working, taking work calls while he's traveling to my shows and stuff.
Right.
But then I also have a few of my close friends that compete as well. So we're always there to just keep each other focused. Like, when we're starting to stray and feel like, I don't know if I can do this, or I'm having a really hard day and I'm really hungry today. We're always there just to be like, you got this, like, come on, 2 more weeks, like, finish strong. So it really helps to have other friends that know firsthand what you're going through.
Right.
Like my husband, he sees what I go through, but he hasn't actually prepped himself yet. Not yet.
I didn't forget.
But having friends that have been through shows and stuff and know what it's like, that is definitely something that is really good to have, because you have somebody to go to that knows what you're feeling. So
Did you ever at a time, because I know I did this, even, towards the more beginning of your bodybuilding career, run into the support that affected you negatively? Like the people who don't really know bodybuilding, but they're like, oh my God, you look great. You look great. And that might have caused you maybe not to push as hard because you kind of started believing what they were saying.
um no, not really. Because I always kind of felt inferior and mediocre to
Right.
everyone else. I never really felt like I was it, or like I was a winner. So I always was trying, like, just afraid of falling short. I never really thought like, okay, I can kind of take it a little easy this prep and just coast in, and so
So
I
I won a local show, murdered it overall, all that. Got my little picture on the poster and everything, and like just start believing the hype. Like, so everybody's like, oh my God, like you need to go to nationals. I didn't think
yeah.
I was ready, but everybody's telling me that. But I noticed that in thinking that I was that guy, I did not work as hard because I'm like, oh, this is going to be easy. I'll go to nationals, not
Uh-huh.
realizing like everybody there is the exact person that you are in your
Yeah.
relative state. And it hit me hard. So I like to ask people that question. Some people say yes, some people are like, no, not really.
Yeah, because I actually never won an open class
Okay.
until this year.
Right.
So I did a regional show as a warm up. Ryan said I didn't have to, but to kind of get the jitters out and
Mhm.
stuff. And so I did it, and that was the first time I ever won an open class. So each time that I had gone to nationals, it was because, I mean, years ago, I think the qualification was top 5 or top 3. I can't remember when they changed
I
it.
remember it top 3, but you've been competing longer than I have. So it could have changed then too. I don't say that
Yeah,
to be mean. I'm just saying like they changed so much, it could have changed.
right. It changed at some point. Before it was top 2. I know it was either top 3 or top 5, but because I had placed in my first national show, I was qualified for the next year. So I was just jumping right back into the national shows. So the fact that I had never won an open show before, never took an overall, like that kind of, made me feel a little bit mediocre compared to the rest of the national level competitors. Like all these girls come in, they've won multiple overalls, they're winning shows left and right. And here I am, just like, I'm just coming back again for another year, just trying to make my way back into that top 5. So
Right. But you
yeah.
continue to make your way back into that top 5 for the most part.
Yeah,
So
I did.
yeah, that's the crazy part about it. So when you like was picking shows ever a thing, or was it just like I'm going to every show when it comes to
for
nationals?
the nationals,
Yeah.
I pretty much was like, I'm gonna do every show if I can,
Okay.
as long as my body allowed me to. I
Right.
mean, at a certain point, I was just, you get burnt out, but I was like, if I can do it and I'm available to do it, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
So
And did
I didn't want to lose out on an opportunity.
mhm.
So
And I feel like too, if you're getting top 5, that means you're like kind of hot.
yeah.
And so I see a lot of people that'll go to Nat, and granted, like obviously it's expensive, flights, show fee, I get it. But like if you go place top 3 at like junior nationals, I think you're
Mhm.
crazy not to do the next national show because
Mhm.
they're gonna remember you.
Right.
But again, that goes back to the mental aspect too. If you're setting up those expectations, you don't get them the way you want to,
Mhm.
then it might not cause you. So like again, I'm giving you your flowers, major props for continuing to push. Like it's mind blowing. I know other people have, but it's just crazy that you were able to do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate
So
it.
no problem. So what is the future hold?
Oh man. So I mean, obviously I'm not going to do my pro debut right away. I'm not ready. I definitely need to take some time to build, I'd say about a year. And then I'm probably just gonna leave it up to Ryan to decide what shows to go into because I'm not really familiar with the pro schedule. So I don't know what would be a good show or a good string of shows to hit. So I would just take his advice on that.
Got you. I got you.
Yeah.
And do you think that you're gonna take like a full off season this time, or is that
Yeah,
something you do?
I'd like to. Just really to build and mentally prepare
Mhm.
to be on stage with the pros. And
Maybe
just kind
you,
of like live in this moment,
yeah.
like just really soak up turning pro and just before I get squashed. No.
It's weird though, is it not? Like you're at the top of the totem pole and then you automatically go right back down to the bottom
Right.
in the midst of a
Yeah. You
show.
gotta make a name for yourself again.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm just trying to live in this moment right now and just enjoy it and
So
take as much time.
I think you and the hubby should just switch places.
Yeah, that's what I said too. So he actually just hit up Ryan for his meal plan. So we'll see. I'll be on the other side. I'll be the supporter this time.
Yeah. First time for everything, right?
Yep.
So
Yeah.
what advice would you give to the young lady that wants to start in bikini and go get her pro card?
Oh, so I would just say to embrace the journey, honestly. And your journey alone is your story. It's not going to compare to anybody else's. So, I experienced that firsthand. It took me 21 shows. And it may take somebody 2 shows. So it's everyone is individual. And just as long as your heart is in it and you really just enjoy what you're doing, just keep going. I think that your character builds from your failures and your setbacks. And that's where that grit comes from, being a good competitor. So that's what I would say.
I 100% agree. Again, like I'm still amazed by hearing the 21 shows and the keeping going. Like it's just, but it's amazing because, like I think it's with social media, like it's the get pro quick scheme now. Like everybody wants to be pro by the time they're like 23, and like it's
Uh-huh.
just like I don't know if you guys understand. And granted, there are guys and girls that do that, but like those are the genetic freaks. Like they're not the
Right.
normal hard worker.
Yeah.
So I would say encourage you, like keep talking and telling your story. I think it's a lot of young women that could be inspired by the fact that you found a goal and you just kept working, like head down, kept working.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I don't want to keep it too much longer. I know you're a busy person. This is a quick one. But I wanted to get your story out there on my end because one, it helps me, it keeps me going. But two, I think other people need to hear it. So is there anything else that you would like to say before we close?
No, just thank you for having me. And I hope that you guys follow my journey onto the pro stage.
So I will definitely be linking your Instagram and everything into the description. We post on Spotify and YouTube for people that don't know. Y'all should if y'all watch. So they'll have all that access to go ahead and check you out. Please go follow her as she's getting ready to prepare to be maybe on the other side of this by supporting the hubby and getting ready for her pro debut. So for those that are listening, again, thank you for coming back to listen to my voice. For those who are watching, you got to see 2 more beautiful faces today. So you should be happy, right? So y'all have a great rest of the day. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. Thank you.